Imagine spending 222 million euros on a single player and watching him leave for free just 6 years later. Or paying 100 million for a defender who becomes your captain and legend. Welcome to the absolutely bonkers world of football transfers, where logic goes to die and money talks louder than a stadium full of ultras. Today, we're diving into the most insane, controversial, and downright shocking transfers in football history that literally broke the internet before breaking it was even a thing. Zinedine Zidane to Real Madrid 2001. Let's kick off with the granddaddy of all Galacticos signings. In 2001, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez decided that 77.5 million euros for Zinedine Zidane wasn't just reasonable. It was a steal. At the time, this was more than some country's GDP, and people thought Madrid had completely lost their minds. But here's the kicker. Zidane was already 29 years old. In today's market, that's practically retirement age for a record transfer. Yet this bald magician proceeded to score that volley in the 2002 Champions League final against Bayer Leverkusen. You know the one? The goal that made physics teachers worldwide question everything they taught about trajectory and power. The Zidane transfer established the template for every mega transfer that followed. Take the world's best player, pay whatever it takes, and pray they deliver moments of pure magic. Spoiler alert, Zidane delivered in spades, winning the Champions League, La Liga, and cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players ever. Sometimes crazy pays off. The Neymar saga, when PSG said, "Hold my croissant." Fast forward to 2017, when Paris Saint-Germain looked at Barcelona and essentially said, "We'll take your most expensive toy. Thanks very much." The 222 million euro release clause for Neymar wasn't just broken. It was obliterated like a Champions League dream against Bayern Munich. What made this transfer absolutely mental wasn't just the fee, but the drama. Neymar literally hid in Brazil while his lawyers figured out how to legally kidnap him from Barcelona. The Spanish media went into meltdown mode, with some journalists camping outside the player's house like he was harboring state secrets instead of just wanting a bigger paycheck and to escape Messi's shadow. PSG's strategy was simple. If you can't beat them by their best players. The only problem? Neymar's best Champions League moment in Paris was getting eliminated by Barcelona. In one of football's most beautiful examples of poetic justice, Barca knocked out PSG 6-1 in 2017, right after the Neymar transfer saga began heating up. You literally cannot write this stuff. The ripple effects were immediate. Suddenly, 100 million became the new 50 million. Players' agents started using Neymar's fee as a baseline, and clubs everywhere collectively groaned as their transfer budgets became insufficient for buying a decent bench player. The Messi move that broke Barcelona and fixed PSG's Instagram. In August 2021, the football world experienced its equivalent of the moon landing when Lionel Messi, yes, the Lionel Messi, left Barcelona. Not because he wanted to, but because Barcelona was more broke than a university student during finals week. The sight of Messi crying at his farewell press conference was more devastating than watching your team lose a penalty shootout. Here was a man who had scored 672 goals for Barcelona, won 10 La Liga titles and 4 Champions Leagues, being told, "Sorry, mate, we literally cannot afford to keep you because La Liga has these pesky financial rules." PSG swooped in faster than you could say financial fair play violation and offered Messi a deal that included cryptocurrency bonuses. Yes, you read that right, crypto bonuses. Because nothing says modern football transfer like paying your superstar in digital coins that might be worth millions or pennies, depending on what Elon Musk tweets that morning. The transfer was technically free, but PSG's wage bill probably needed its own zip code. Messi's arrival in Paris was treated like a royal wedding, with thousands of fans gathering at the airport just to catch a glimpse of the Argentine magician. PSG social media followers doubled overnight, proving that sometimes the best marketing campaign is simply signing the greatest player of all time. Harry Maguire, when 80 million buys you internet fame. In 2019, Manchester United looked at Leicester City and said, "We'll have one Harry Maguire, please." Leicester said, "That'll be £80 million. Thank you very much." And United, in their infinite wisdom, replied, "Seems reasonable for a defender who looks like he runs underwater." Now, let's be fair to Maguire. He's not a bad player. He's just an 80 million pound player who plays like a 20 million pound player on a Tuesday night in December. The transfer made him the most expensive defender in football history, which is like making the Mona Lisa the most expensive painting and then hanging it in a student dormitory. The internet has been merciless to Maguire, turning him into a meme factory. There are compilation videos of him defending with the urgency of someone queuing for coffee, and his turning circle has been compared to the Titanic. And that's being generous to Maguire. But here's the plot twist. He became United's captain and actually improved their defensive record. It's just that when you cost 80 million, people expect you to defend like you're 3 players rolled into one, not like you're 1 player divided by 3. Coutinho's Barcelona nightmare. The 160 million regret. Philippe Coutinho's transfer to Barcelona in January 2018 was supposed to be the missing piece in their post-Neymar puzzle. For 120 million euros, plus add-ons that could reach 160 million, Barcelona were convinced they'd found their new Brazilian magician. Instead, they got a very expensive magician who kept making their Champions League hopes disappear. Coutinho's time at Barcelona was more painful to watch than a penalty shootout, and twice as expensive. He was deployed as a winger, then as a midfielder, then as a creative outlet, then as a substitute, and finally as a very costly reminder that sometimes square pegs don't fit in round holes, no matter how much you paid for them. The ultimate humiliation came when Barcelona loaned him to Bayern Munich, where he proceeded to score 2 goals against his parent club in the Champions League quarterfinal. Imagine paying 160 million for a player who then helps eliminate you from Europe's premier competition. That's not just adding insult to injury. That's adding a Champions League semi-final to injury. Barcelona eventually sold him back to the Premier League for a fraction of what they paid, making this transfer the footballing equivalent of buying a luxury car and trading it in for a bicycle. Antony and the 100 million spin move. In 2022, Manchester United decided that what they really needed was a Brazilian winger who could do tricks. So they paid Ajax 100 million euros for Antony, a player whose signature move is spinning around like he's trying to find his car keys in a dark parking lot. Don't get me wrong, the spin move is entertaining. It's just that when you pay 100 million for a player, you expect him to spin past defenders, not just spin. Antony's debut season stats read like a participation trophy. A handful of goals, a few assists, and approximately 47,000 spin moves that led to absolutely nothing. The transfer perfectly encapsulates modern football's obsession with highlight reels over actual productivity. Sure, Antony looks fantastic on Instagram, but football matches aren't won on social media, despite what some clubs seem to believe. United fans have been patient, but patience wears thin when your 100 million euro winger's most effective contribution is making opponents dizzy. Still, there's time for Antony to prove his worth, though he might want to add some end product to his spinning repertoire. Grealish, the 100 million calf muscles. When Manchester City paid Aston Villa £100 million for Jack Grealish in 2021, they weren't just buying a player, they were buying a lifestyle. Grealish came with perfectly sculpted calves, hair that defied both gravity and logic, and the ability to win fouls by simply existing near opposition players. The transfer was controversial because Grealish was essentially City's luxury purchase. They didn't need him, but they wanted him. It's like buying a golden toilet. Completely unnecessary, but undeniably impressive. Grealish's first season was solid rather than spectacular, leading to the inevitable "was he worth 100 million" debates. But here's the thing about City's transfer strategy. They buy players not just for what they are, but for what they prevent other teams from having. By signing Grealish, they ensured Manchester United couldn't have him, which in the Premier League arms race is sometimes just as valuable as the player himself. Plus, his calves alone probably increased City's merchandise sales by 30%. Kylian Mbappé, the transfer that never was until it was. For years, the Mbappé to Real Madrid transfer was football's equivalent of waiting for your crush to text you back. Everyone knew it would happen eventually, but the anticipation was killing us all. PSG reportedly turned down offers of 180 million euros from Real Madrid, choosing instead to keep their French superstar happy with contracts that probably included ownership stakes in the Eiffel Tower. The saga dragged on longer than a Netflix series that should have ended 3 seasons ago. When Mbappé finally announced he was staying at PSG in 2022, Real Madrid fans went through the 5 stages of grief in about 30 seconds. The player had essentially used Real Madrid as leverage to become the highest-paid player in football history, earning more per week than some people make in a decade. The ultimate irony? After all that drama, Mbappé eventually made his move to Real Madrid in 2024, proving that in football, all roads eventually lead to the Santiago Bernabéu. They just sometimes take a very expensive detour through Paris first. Darwin Núñez, the 100 million question mark. Liverpool's 2022 signing of Darwin Núñez for up to 100 million euros from Benfica was either a masterstroke or madness, depending on which week you ask. The Uruguayan striker arrived with a reputation for scoring spectacular goals and missing even more spectacular chances, often in the same match. Núñez embodies modern football's biggest gamble, paying enormous fees for potential rather than proven quality. He has all the physical attributes to be world-class: pace, power, and a left foot that can generate enough power to restart a small country. The only problem is his decision-making sometimes resembles someone playing FIFA for the first time. Liverpool fans have embraced his chaos, creating songs about his ability to miss open goals and score from impossible angles, sometimes within the same 10-minute period. It's like supporting a player who comes with his own highlight reel and low-light reel simultaneously. Romelu Lukaku's transfer merry-go-round. No discussion of crazy transfers is complete without mentioning Romelu Lukaku, the Belgian striker who has been traded around Europe's top leagues like a very expensive football card. Chelsea paid Inter Milan £97.5 million to bring him back in 2021, only to loan him back to enter the following season. This created the surreal situation where Chelsea were essentially paying Lukaku to score goals against them in European competition. It's the football equivalent of lending your ex your car and then being surprised when they use it to go on dates with other people. Lukaku's transfer saga illustrates football's short-term memory problem. Clubs keep making the same expensive mistakes, just with different players and bigger price tags. The beautiful madness of modern football. These transfers prove that football has completely lost its mind, and we absolutely love it. From Zidane's world record move that seemed insane but delivered magic, to Neymar's deal that broke the market, to Messi's free transfer that wasn't really free, modern football transfers are more entertaining than the matches themselves. The beautiful game has become the expensive game, where logic is optional but entertainment is guaranteed. Sure, these moves often don't make financial sense, but they give us stories, debates, and memes that last for years. What's your take on these crazy transfers? Which one do you think was the most insane? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into football's transfer madness, smash that like button and subscribe for more football content that's as unpredictable as the transfer market itself. And ring that notification bell, because in football, you never know when the next 200 million euro bombshell is going to drop. Until next time, keep believing in the beautiful, expensive, absolutely bonkers world of football transfers.